Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Maria Gracia. Let me try to share my screen and we could start. Okay, let me try to move this. Okay, so good morning, everyone. For today, we're going to have the webinar related to the microdynamics data management settings. Basically, I'm going to be showing you how to use all the functionalities that we have in the data management settings, and I will try to explain with some examples how to do all the things that are available in the CRM. Our agenda for today, as Margaret already mentioned, is going to be on a small introduction, and then I'm going to be just passing through some topics like, for example, duplicate detection, bulk record deletion, data maps, imports, templates for data imports, and field translation. The idea is that I'm going to be just showing the topic, and after that, I'm going to be explaining you in CRM how to do it. The first thing is what's the menu that we are going to be covering. The menu is going to be the data management, and I'm going to try to explain all the functionalities that we have here. I think that before starting or before going deep in the topics, I'm going to show you in the CRM how to go to this menu, and I'm going to try to explain a little bit about the functionalities. So in the CRM, just to go to that menu, you need to go to this button, click in Advanced Settings. And when you click that functionality, you're going to be here in this option. You need to click here on Settings, and then you need to click on Data Management. The functionalities that are going to be presenting there are going to be this like 12 functionalities. The first three functionalities are going to be duplicate detection settings, duplicate detection jobs, and duplicate detection rules. And these functionalities are going to be the functionalities that you could use to administrate to manage all the things related with detection, with duplicate detection. I'm going to be going deep in each functionality later, but these three options are going to be those. Then you're going to have the bulk record deletion. That is going to be the functionality that you could use to delete massively records, like for example, emails or tasks or some information that probably you want to just remove from the system, thinking in storage. But this is something that I want to probably explain with more details, because there are a lot of things that you could do here and are going to be aligned with the maintenance of the instance. Then you're going to have the data maps. There is a functionality that you could import files, and one of the files that you import are going to be CSV files. So when you select these kind of files, you need to create a map. A map is going to be a place where you define that this field in the CSV file is going to be related to one specific field in the CRM. So this option is going to be allowing you to do that. I'm going to explain you how to do it later. After that, you're going to have the import option. That is going to be a functionality that you could use to import a CSV file or to import an Excel file. Then you're going to find the templates for data import. So if you want to download a template and import any information, the place that you could use to download the template is going to be here. There are some other functionalities that I'm not going to explain with much detail, because, for example, this one, sample data. If you create a blank instance in CRM and you want to populate with some information, you could use this sample data, and basically Microsoft just put some like a group of information just to do some exercise or something like that, but it's going to be just like dummy information. So you could use it if you want, probably in a development or QA environment or something like that, but it's not for production. Data encryption, if you want to check the key, but it's something that you should just use if you are an experienced developer. So it's not something that you're going to be using, at least not in the daily way. Um, After that, you're going to have the translations that basically are all the things that you could configure in the CRM if you are using CRM in a different language. So if, for example, you are using CRM in Spanish or French or some other language, you could define that there are some words that you want to just that you want to see in a specific way, because probably the translation that Microsoft do or the translation that the developers do, that is not appropriate or it's not accordance to the context. So it's something that you could use if you want to just make your CRM looks better in terms of the words that it's using. Okay, so those are the functionalities that I'm going to be explaining you. Now just go back to the presentation. The first section is going to be the duplicate detection. On the duplicate detection, we're going to have three options. The first one is going to be the duplicate detection settings. Basically, in this option, it's possible to activate or deactivate the detection and how it's going to be executed. So if you enter here to duplicate detection settings, the CRM is going to show probably two or three options to activate or to deactivate. Just to keep in mind, this is in the, I mean, those options are options that are going to be slow if you don't use it frequently. So like, for example, this is an option that I don't use at all. So that's why it's getting a time. So probably just close the window and try again, and it's going to force it to load quickly. So in this window, you could define if the detection rule is going to be activated or not. And you could define when the the detection rule is going to be or should be triggered. Like for example, I could define that when a record is created, or when a record is created or updated, I need to trigger the duplication detection rule. Or when an Outlook, when Microsoft Dynamics for Outlook goes from online to offline, from offline to online, it means that if you are using the CRM offline and after that you pass to online, on that moment, the CRM needs to activate the detection rules. So that's pretty useful. And the last one is going to be the data import. So if you are importing data, you could define if the CRM should trigger the detection rules or not. So all of these are the functionalities, the general functionalities or the general settings that you need to define and are going to be here in the duplication and the duplicate detection settings. So that's the first one. The second one is going to be the duplicate detection jobs. Probably there are some CRM instances that are going to receive information like migration or some import or some web services or whatever. So if you want to receive information and later review the information that you already have in your CRM, probably it's a good idea to create a detection job. So when you create a detection job, what you are doing is create an activity that is going to review the information that you already have in the CRM. So that's basically to validate historical information or to validate information that you already have in the CRM. So just to use that functionality, just click there on data detection jobs, duplicate detection jobs, and here you are going to find the functionality to create a job. So basically, just click on new. And when you click on new, the CRM is going to ask you let me try to make it quicker. Okay, well, it's going to show you here the steps that you need to follow to create a detection job. Basically, it's going to show you or it's going to ask you for the entity that you want to review. For example, I could define, okay, let's review the leads entity or let's review the account. Let's review the account. So you could review the accounts. You could define here what's the filter you want to use. Like for example, I want to just review the accounts that are created autumn before, let's say autumn before by a specific day, whatever. Let's say that is going to be before this one. You could preview the records if you wanted, and then you could define when the job is going to run. So let's say that I'm going to run the job for, let's say today 10:30 or something like that. So I could define here, and I could define, okay, let's run this job every 30 days. Like for example, if I want to keep reviewing information, I could just run the job in a specific period of time. Let's say I'm going to be running this weekly. So I could define here every 7 days. And then I could define as soon as the job finished, send a specific information to someone. So I could define here, okay, let's send the information to me directly. So I could define here as soon as the process finish, um, send me the information. Okay, so I'm gonna click on next, and after that it's going to confirm the information. And as soon as I click on submit, the job is going to be scheduled. I'm not going to schedule that, but that's the process that you need to follow. So basically, if you want to review the information that you already have in your system, the duplicate detection jobs is going to be a really good way to do it. The last one is going to be the duplicate detection rules. And that's the way, or that's the place that you're going to be used to define the rules that you want to apply. So let's go back to the data management. And here you will find the duplicate detection rules. So by default, CRM or Microsoft includes a bunch of rules that are already available there. Like for example, on leads, on contacts, on accounts. Well, we're already going to have a group of rules there. So you could use those, or you could just define your own rules. A rule basically define, those are the rules that the CRM includes by default. Actually, I have one configured here by myself, actually too. But all the rules that are created by the system are going to be the standard ones, the out of the box rules. Let's open one of these rules, like for example, this one, context. So if you want to define a rule, like for example, this one, this rules is going to validate a specific field on the system, and is going to define if there is some other duplicate record with the same information. Like for example, if I want to validate contacts, and let's say that I'm creating a contact and I want to validate the mobile number, the phone number. So I could define that as soon as I put the number, like for example here, if I already, I mean, as soon as I create or as soon as I modify a report, it's going to validate the mobile phone. And if there is some record with exact match, it means exactly the same. The system is going to show me a message telling me, okay, there is already a record with the same information. What do you want to do? It's going to ask me, what do I want to do? So it means if I want, I could continue with the same number. But if not, I could review the previous record and probably validate if the record is the one that I'm creating. So these detection rules are pretty useful, at least if you define those in a specific fields. Because if you define that in fields like country, like city, of course, that is going to be multiple records with the same information. But if you define that in terms of ID or in terms of email, mobile number, something like that is going to be more personal, more unique, is going to be pretty useful. So the way to create a rule is just click on new. It's going to ask you for a name. Let's say that I'm going to validate my address, duplicate address, something like that. And I could define, okay, let's validate on contact. You need to define here the entity that you want to validate. Let's say that is going to be contact. And I'm gonna change record type. Let's say contact as well. Okay, so you could define here, let's say I'm going to validate on contact, but I want to review if, for example, a lead already have that information. So I could just combine multiple entities just to validate, like there are some entities that are related. So you could define here that. You could define if you want to review case sensitive. So you want to review the capitals or not. So this is useful in some cases. And you could define exclude inactive matching record. So if the record already exists but is inactive, just don't look at it. Just ignore that record. Okay, you could define that here. And after that, you are going to define here the field that you want to review. Let's say that I want to review the address that in CRM is going to be the address strip one, exact match, or you could just review the first characters of the last ones, but let's say they're going to be exact match. I'm going to ignore blanks. And it's important because if you don't select or if you don't check this one, and if you leave the field in blank, every time that you leave one record with that field in blank is going to show you the duplicate detection. So it's going to be kind of unknown. You could define here multiple fields and just combine the validation. And after that, as soon as you do it, you just need to publish the rule and it's going to be activated. Okay, it's going to be active, sorry. So basically that's the way to create a detection rule. It's simple. I know that there are some topics that we are going to be explaining on these webinars that some of them are going to be simple, some of them are going to be more complex. The ones that we are reviewing today are some of them are simple, so that's why it looks pretty simple. The next one is going to be the rule record deletion. That's a real powerful functionality, but is one of the ones that you need to be more careful. I mean, you need to use it with all your attention. So let's say that you are going to do, especially if you are using that on a production environment, please keep in mind that you could do a real mess if you don't are concentrated. So let's create a bool deletion wizard. I could define here what do I want to delete. So let's say that I'm going to be deleting email. And I want to delete, let's say that I want to delete emails that are pretty old. Like for example, let's say older than 2 years or older than 1 year, let's say. So it means that the CRM is going to evaluate all the emails that older than 1 year, and it's going to try to delete that information. So I could define here, like for example, email, deletion, monthly, and let's say that I'm going to execute this one every month. So let's say that I'm going to execute this one tomorrow. Tomorrow, and it's going to be executed, let's say 1 a.m. So what I'm doing here is that I'm scheduling a process that is going to be running every 30 days, and it's going to be deleting the information that is already old. So this is a really good way to keep your CRM in an appropriate size. What I'm telling you is that if you enter, and that's probably a parenthesis, but if you enter to admin dynamics, that's admin Power Platform, you could see the size of your database. So if you enter here to capacity, for example, I could see that on Optimus, we have 33 gigabytes available, and we are using 29. So we are pretty near to use all our size or all our storage. So what I'm just telling you here is that try to keep your CRM just with the information that you require, because if not, you're going to be in trouble in terms of the storage. So in the presentation that I just showing you here, there is a link that I'm going to be showing. Actually, I'm going to share the link on the chat because if you enter here to this link, you are going to read all the suggestions that Microsoft do in terms of pre-app storage space. So all these suggestions are going to be related with the topic that I'm just explaining you. It's going to show you how to create a bool deletion job and what exactly do you need to delete to keep your CRM in a pretty good size. So this is a really good material. So try to read it and try to put in practice just with the bool record deletion that I just explaining you. Okay, so that's something pretty useful. The third one is going to be the data maps. So every time that you import a file, uh, you are going to define what's the structure of information that you want to import. Let's try to review if I already have some data maps here. If not, we need to create one from scratch. So basically, let's say that I'm going to import a lead or a contact. So if I'm going to be use a CSV file that basically is a plain file, you could define what are the columns, like for example, this one. This is a pretty good example. So let's say that I have here, this is a, let me review this one, countries. Let's say that I have a custom entity called countries. So on this entity, that is a custom entity. If you open one of these records, you are going to have a name, you're going to have a code, you're going to have an error code. So this is going to be an entity with just 3 fields, okay? So in data management, I could create a data management. Actually, you cannot create one here. You could, in process, you are going to define one, and after that, you could just modify it. But if I open this one, I'm just going to see that there is some an import mapping created there, but I cannot modify that. I mean, I cannot click here. I cannot edit at all anything. I can just delete the map or share or assign or something like that, but you cannot modify the map. Okay. So how can I, well, I can activate or deactivate, but it's not too useful. But if I want to create a map, I need to do a new one. So let me delete this one and let's create a new one. Okay. Okay, so let's say that I'm going to import a country. So what you're going to do is that, let's say that I'm going to create a new plain, a new text file. Let's say that I'm going to have the code. I'm going to have a code. I'm going to have name. I'm going to have an error code. And the next one is going to be the CTM or anything. And let's say that I'm going to import Jamaica. And let's say that, I don't know the code of Jamaica. Let's say that's going to be beautiful. Anyway, any code. Okay, so I'm going to save this file. This is a file, new countries. This is a file that contains information that I'm going to import. I'm going to save it as a CSV file. CSV file. Okay. Okay, that's it. So let's say that I want to import this information to this entity. So what I'm going to do here, we are going to go back to the management, to the mapping. Let's pass to the import and then go back to the mapping. So if I want to import something, I have to click on import data. Here, I need to select the file. Let's say that I'm going to select the file that I just created. That is this one. And the CRM is going to ask me what exactly do I want to import. So I'm going to import a file. The field delimiter, I mean, the character that I used to separate information was the comma. So it's correct. I have to select the comma. I have to define that the first row contain the titles, contain the column headers. So I need to select this one. And then I need to click on next. And it's going to ask me if I already have a mapping created. I could select the mapping here, but no, I don't have a mapping created. So we are going to create a map. So let's click on next. And here I need to define what do I want to import. So I'm going to import countries because that's the structure that I am sending you, or that I am going to send. It's going to be a country. After that, the CRM is going to try to map the information. Like, for example, I already mapped the code because it was the same name. I already mapped the name because it was the same name. But couldn't map the error code because it has an space. So I could find here, okay, it's an error code. I could just complete the mapping. And then I just click on next. Here is going to confirm that everything is okay. I'm going to click on next. And then it's going to ask me if I want to allow the application or not. I'm going to say no. And then it's going to ask me for a name for this map. So importing countries. So I could find here a name. And after that, I mean, the next time that you want to import a CSV file with countries, you don't need to do all of these steps. You just need to select the mapping that you already created. It's going to map the information directly, and you just need to just continue with the file. So now I'm going to submit. And what is going to happen here is that the CRM is going to try to import information. I could refresh using this icon that I'm just clicking here, just impatiently here. But it's going to tell you that it is just one record in the file. It's transforming the information. He needs to review the information, validate that everything is okay. It's going to import the information. It's going to be showing you the status here, importing. And as soon as import information, it's going to validate and it's going to import. It's taking more time than I was thinking, but at the end, it's going to complete. So if you came here, as you can see, there is 5 records, but if you refresh, you make a show over here. So this one was the record that we just import. So if we just try to import the file again, just to do the exercise, because I want to show you something, I just need to click on next, and here, the mapping that we just configured, importing countries, is going to be available. So if you click here and you click on next, all the mapping is going to be already there. And you're going to pass to the last step. So it's going to save you time. So that's the way to do it. And basically, I already explained you how to create new data maps. If you define that the data map is not longer uh, appropriate, or if you want to change it or something, you could just delete it, or you could just do something like that. But you cannot edit. That's the thing. As soon as you create the mapping, you cannot edit the map. That's something that Microsoft is still working on, but that's it. Well, you could just create your own map. The next one is going to be the imports. The imports was the functionality that I just showing you. That I just show you. If you click here in data maps and you click on imports, you could review here what exactly happened. So if you open this one, you could open the import. You could see here what exactly happened in the process. It's going to be available at what time you start, what exactly you import, what's the name of the entity that you use. If there are some failures, it's going to show you here. If everything is success, it's going to appear here that the record was success. If there are some errors, like for example, well, there's no errors here, but if there is some error, it's going to show you here the error. It's going to tell you what's the column with the problem, what's the number of the line, and exactly here is going to show you the error code. And in more information, it's going to tell you exactly what is the problem. So it's pretty simple to review or to validate, and you just need to import information. So let's import something from an Excel file. So to import something from an Excel file, let me use the same entity. And actually, I'm going to show you how to import and how to modify information at the same time. So there are 2 ways to do it. The first way is you could click here on data management and came here to templates for data import. So if I select here country and I click on download and I click on the file, I'm going to see the information of the file with the fields that are available in the entity. So the entity already have a name, already have a code, or already have area. So let me try to import one that doesn't exist. Let's say that I have anyone, doesn't matter. Let's say England. And let's say that the code, I don't know the code, well, the code is going to be, and in the area is going to be this one, it doesn't matter. So you could just create multiple ones. I mean, you could just move this one and create as much as you need. But as soon as you save the file, you could come here again to data management, click on imports again, and you could just click import data, and it's going to be kind of different. The previous one was a file that we import from a CSV file, but this one is going to be an import that we are going to do from an Excel file that is a template. So if I click on next, the CRM already knows all the mapping, so it's not going to ask you anything. It's just going to tell you, okay, submit, and that's it. Just with the Excel file, you are going to be able to import all the information, and you don't need to do any mapping because the file already includes all the mapping. So let me try to validate and transporting. After that, it's going to say importing, and after that, it's going to be completed. And everything is going to be okay. So now I have 6 records here, and the new one is going to be England. Okay. So that's the way, that's the first way to do it, just from a blank file. But what happens if I want to change and I want to define the right or the correct area codes? I want to modify massively. If you want to modify massively, let me delete some files here because now I'm going to be confused and I don't want. Okay. So I'm going to export to Excel. So you need to just click export to Excel. The CRM is going to export an Excel file with all the information that you have in this entity. In this case, the countries. You could enable it. And let's say that you're going to redefine the code. So let's say that I'm going to redefine the codes, like for example, this one. Well, probably it's going to have some issues with the codes. So let's say that it's going to be this one and this one and something like that. Okay. So I'm going to modify the codes, and let's say that I'm going to modify the area codes. Suppose that are this one. I know that that's not correct, doesn't matter. So if I want to modify some information, I could modify information directly from here. If I don't want to modify information from one specific record, you could just delete the record here. It's not going to delete in CRM. It's just going to ignore the record when you import information. So I'm going to modify the codes and the area codes, and I'm going to save the file. And then you could come here and import, as I already explained you before, or you could come here and try to import information directly from here. It's another option. Let's do it in this option just to make it different and just to allow you to see the difference between both of options. So here you're going to click on choose file and you're just going to select the file. After that, you could click on next. It's going to ask you the same. It's going to tell you, okay, you want to validate for a specific field or something like that, or you want to allow duplicate or something like that. If you want to review the mapping, you could do it here, but it's going to be correct because you are importing the template. So now you need just to finish the import. I don't like this option too much because, well, you could click on track progress and it's going to send you to the same option. But if not, if you click on done, you cannot see when it finished. So I have to go back here, click on refresh. It's going to tell me that it's going to update 7 records. It's parsing. After parsing, it's going to be transforming, and then it's going to be completed. It's going to be importing, and then it's going to complete the process. So it's already done. So it already updated information. So as you can see here, the codes are correct, the area codes are correct. And that's another way to use the data management model, importing the information. using the templates, and that's basically the functionality that's available there. The next one, well, the template data that I already explained you could download all the templates, I mean, all the entities that are available. And something important, and just let me do this exercise because probably if you, for example, export accounts, accounts is one of the entities in the CRM with more fields. So if you import, if you download accounts, as you can hear here, it's going to have many columns. So probably more than 100, something like that. I don't know. So, but let's say that you just need to import a couple of them. So you could just delete one. So if you delete the columns, you could just delete the columns and just fill out the columns that you require. I mean, you don't need to fill all the columns. Just generate information that you really need. Okay, that's something, and it's not going to be a problem. It's going to work. But I mean, keep in mind that if you delete one column that is required or that is going to be mandatory, the CRM is going to send you a message telling you, okay, you are not sending the minimum information. But the rest of the information, it's something that you could just review. Okay, that's something that try to keep in mind. The next one is going to be the field translations. I don't use it too much. I try to don't mix multiple languages in one instance, but it's something that the people could do. So if you enter here, for example, you enter the options, you could see that the CRM allows you to define what's the language that you want to use. So for example, in this instance, if I click here and then I enter to one option that appears here, that probably is going to be the language. It's going to allows me to select the language that I want to use, but the list of languages that are going to appear there, well, let's just show you. So for example, I could define here the user interface language is going to be English. It's not allowing me to select a different one. It's just going to be English. But the reason why it's allowing you just select English is because in the instance, someone, the administrator, needs to enter to administration. I think that it's in administration or the company administration, I'm not sure. But someone that is going to be a system administrator needs to enable the second or the third language. Because if not, the people cannot select that. Well, that's an instance that I don't use too much. So that's why it's pretty small with some options. So if you click on language, I'm not going to click here because it's really slow, this functionality, but if you click on language, it's going to show you the list of the language and you could select what other languages do you want to enable. And as soon as you do that, the people could just select a different one. The thing here is that as soon as you do that, you need to upload the translations. So what it means is that if you create a field called name, if you create a field called code, or if you create a field called area name, the CRM understand that the primary language is going to be English and is going to have that information, but he doesn't know what's the name or what's the traduction, what's the translation of this field. So you need to come here to data management and you need to export the field translation. Okay, so you need to define, well, it's going to download a zip file, and in the zip file is going to allow me to configure the translations that I want to use. Okay, this is pretty okay. That probably is but well, that's not the easiest way to do it. But basically, the way to do it is that you need to configure a file with all the names of the fields that you want to download. And after that, you could just import that information back to the CRM. And as soon as the person select the language, the fields are going to appear in the right with the right translation. Okay, this is something not quite simple to use, but I just want to let you know that the functionality is there and that it's possible to export the translation, and after that just import the translation back. That's the idea. Basically, have a possibility to modify the words or to modify the way that the translations appears in the CRM. Usually, we don't do that in this way. There is some other tools that we could use to modify the translation directly. So probably it's better to try to explore that functionalities, because the way to do it in the traditional ways is kind of complex. So that's it. Well, basically those are the topics that I want to cover today. I really want to encourage you to try to enter to this CRM instance. The instance that I'm just sharing with you here, actually I'm going to share this in the chat as well. Let me chat here. I'm going to share that information here. This is a CRM instance that you could use for your testing. So if you are learning CRM, if you are trying to understand a little bit more the CRM, if this is your first time in the CRM, try to enter to this instance with this user and password. It's going to be exactly this instance that I am using. So if you want to just review, navigate, and validate what are the options, or if you want to try the things that I just explained in you in this webinar, you could do it. The user that I'm just sharing you with you is a system administrator, so he's going to be enabled to do anything and all the things that I just explained to you. And if you have any issue, or if you want to share your experience, or if you have any question, just send me an email. I'm going to be just answering you as soon as I can. I really appreciate your time, and I really want to say thank you for being here. And I really hope you to see you probably next week or 2 weeks on the next webinar. Thanks a lot for your time.